Now, with FPL Game Week 18 very quickly coming on the horizon, I thought I'd ask my FPL experts for their top transfer recommendations, and in today's video, we're going to give my honest review of all the players that they've selected you should be looking at this game week. Now, before we dive into today's video, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as we are trying to hit 11,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and it is only possible with your guys' amazing support. So let's, of course, dive into my experts picks then. A lot of them are going to be kind of around Bukayo Saka and some other players that are, you know, problems within our side, to say the least, this week, and that was kind of the theme that was obviously flowing through my experts in our Discord chat. So let's first off start off with Bruno Fernandes. He was a very popular pick for a Saka replacement. Obviously, it was a disappointing result for Manchester United, but Bruno still did create a few opportunities, had one big chance himself as well. The fixtures, I would say, coming up are probably indifferent for Bruno Fernandes. Wolves did look a lot better today. However, they were playing Leicester, who have looked really shoddy under Ruud van Nistelrooy, to be honest. Newcastle have looked really good over the past few weeks, but again, they played two newly promoted sides, but have looked very comfortable in those games, and I think with United's frailties, they'll probably be the better side in that one. Liverpool, let's kind of get that one out of the way. That's already going to be a loss. Southampton's a great fixture, and Brighton are pretty leaky, so I could see United scoring in that one. So I'd probably say United will score in at least 3 of the next 5 Premier League fixtures. And do I think Bruno's probably going to have a chance in any of them? Yes, he's the penalty taker. His minutes are very consistent over a busy festive period, which is always something that gets a massive big thumbs up from me as well. He is creating plenty of opportunities for this side. Unfortunately, the side that he is playing for are just woeful. Like, it seems even with the new manager, things are still not working out. And I think for me, that is the thing putting me off the likes of Bruno and Ahmed. I think it's a little bit different with Ahmed because he's 5.4 million. You don't mind benching him. You don't really kind of expect too much out of him. But when we're going to be playing 8+ million for Bruno Fernandes, I'm probably going to be expecting a few more returns than what I would from Ahmed. And I'm kind of looking at it at the moment, and I'm thinking I probably would prefer going for Ahmed, to be honest. I thought both were United's best 2 players today in the game. Everybody else was absolutely abysmal, and Bournemouth completely played them off the park for large portions of that game. I think going forward, it is going to be Bruno Fernandes and Ahmed that will be any sort of kind of desirable assets for Manchester United. But would I replace Bukayo Saka with Bruno Fernandes? I think it's an okay move, but it's just not one that's quite elevating it for me. I think the fixtures are a little bit indifferent, and I would like to see United obviously start to put some teams to the sword and actually, you know, be a good attacking side. Even in the game they won last weekend against Manchester City, they were still pretty poor in that one as well, and probably were quite fortunate to come away with a win, and kind of reflection of the whole game itself. A draw kind of felt fair from that one. So I'm not against Bruno Fernandes, but I don't think he's the ideal Bukayo Saka replacement, and I don't think there's actually any clear and obvious answer to go to from Bukayo Saka, but Bruno is one of those options that you potentially could consider. Doesn't get the wholehearted approval from me. I do prefer going for Ahmed over Bruno Fernandes for that price point, but a 90-minute player on penalties over a busy festive period could be worth a potential little bit of an investment for me. Let's move on then. Let's take a look at our next experts pick. And this one's going to take a whole lot of explanation. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I've gone large parts of this season without Erling Haaland. Started the season without him. Brought him in after he absolutely decimated me in back-to-back hat-tricks. Then I've sold him again, and obviously it's paying kind of dividends, and everybody's now sold him as well, with his ownership being down at 36.6%. I believe that's the lowest it's ever been in the time that he's actually been an asset in FPL as well, for like within season kind of range as well, which is absolutely ridiculous. But what the guy explained to me, what my expert explained to me, is kind of something that I've been looking at in terms of my transfers themselves when I've been covering the 11FI data, and that is the fact that these City fixtures coming up are really good. And I feel like everybody is kind of stuck within this mindset at the moment that Manchester City are going to continue losing games. That's not going to happen. It just isn't, right? I think they've probably come up against some pretty decent sides, and themselves have been also pretty woeful. The United one is probably kind of a standout in there. Villa are a pretty decent side. But you look over that next 5, right? You go Everton at home. Okay, Everton are pretty defensively astute, so I don't really fancy Haaland for that one. But Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, Ipswich, all teams that are towards the bottom of the XG conceded chart this season. Leicester are conceding goals for fun. Ruud van Nistelrooy probably could be out by the end of January, to be honest, if his kind of performances continue the way they are. West Ham are still pretty leaky as well. Brentford, they are shipping goals for fun. Got a lot of injuries as well at the back at the moment as well. Ipswich as well also fall into that category. Like I said, all these teams really, really terrible for expected goals conceded. So, you know, a lot is going in the favour of here of picking up Manchester City. And I think with us, you know, potentially having Bukayo Saka out for an extended period of time, maybe going of the free premium structure of Salah, Palmer and Haaland might potentially be back on, because you might want to captain him in that Leicester fixture, that West Ham one, the Brentford one, the Ipswich one. And I do feel when Haaland is a captaincy option in these weeks, it is worth having him because what he can actually deliver. Now, as we can see over the past 5 game weeks, he's really not been at the races. Neither have Manchester City. But like I said, I don't think that can continue over an extended period of time. Of course, he is at now this more elevated price point, and it's going to be extremely difficult for a lot of people to kind of rip their teams apart and get him back in. But I think sometimes you need to go against the narrative and actually look for opportunities like this. And this is a big one as well. Also, to kind of go with it, I did put together some data from 11FI. So the top one is Haaland's projected goal involvements over the next 5 game weeks, and down the bottom is Manchester City as a whole's projected goal involvements as well. You can see the full list for obviously all the players and teams in yesterday's transfer targets video as well. I do cover those on a weekly basis as well, if that is something that you would be willing to see as well. Maybe this is the first time you've come across the channel, you're looking for kind of projected data like this, then we always go and check this out. This is from 11FI, by the way. Make sure to go and check out their amazing website. I will leave a link in the description as well. But as we can see here, the projected goal numbers for Haaland are really good over the next few. He actually tops some of the list in comparing to Palmer and Salah as well over this period, so that makes him a great captaincy option. City as well, as we can see here, those projected goal numbers as well are looking absolutely fabulous. So I do think Haaland has to start entering our thought processes just a little bit. Now, I'm not saying, you know, you need to go and rip up your team to go and get him in, find a way to get him in, but I think this Saka injury for the teams that do have the free premiums in midfield, it might just be worth a little bit of consideration. I still don't think he's probably the ideal asset to go and pick up this week with Everton. I think they'll be pretty defensively sound. We've seen that from them, and it's becoming increasingly harder to score against that Everton defence. Seems like, you know, since Branthwaite's been back, they've got a lot more solidity within that back line as well. So it does seem like they're a lot more of a harder team to play, I would say. So probably not this week for Haaland, but maybe the next few weeks going forward, he could offer himself up back as an option. But I'm not going to suggest you go and buy him straight away. I think I probably need to see a little bit more from him and Manchester City as a whole before I do obviously buy back into Erling Haaland. Let's move on then. Let's continue the striker theme and take a look at John Duran and Gabriel Jesus. I say these kind of players both fit into kind of the same category, don't they, really? They've kind of had pretty good kind of last few weeks. Jesus is just last week, to be honest. Obviously scoring 5 goals against Crystal Palace in 4 days, which is absolutely ludicrous. As you can see here, that Ipswich a home fixture, Brentford away and Brighton away as well. All pretty good attacking fixtures for an Arsenal side that are very much purring at the moment in a title charge on Liverpool as well. He seems like he'll probably be leading the line on that Boxing Day fixture against Ipswich as well. Probably been a little bit fortunate with both of his goals, but could have very easily come away with back-to-back hat-tricks as well. He had a chance that hit the post, and then Havertz pretty much secured it from close range. And obviously, when a player does get into purple patches like this, it's extremely difficult to whether or not to know he is, you know, an actual deliverer, or it's just one of those players that maybe is worth taking a little bit of a punt on, a little bit of a gamble on. And maybe people that have kind of got a little bit fed up with João Pedro, somebody like Gabriel Jesus or John Duran could be worth that risk for the next 3 weeks. Maybe just have a little bit of fun if you've obviously not got Saka, or maybe any other problems to worry about with your sides. Both of these men could be great little pickups for the Christmas period. Have a little bit of fun, because I could see both of these players scoring in pretty much every single fixture. John Duran, on the other hand, he has now started his last 3 games, scoring in all 3 as well, getting plenty of shots in the box, and is managing to keep Ollie Watkins out the side. Like I said, I do feel like both of these assets are probably going to be more short-term based rather than long-term good assets to hold for the remainder of the season. However, if they keep scoring goals, goals. You never know what could happen with the Premier League, and both of these guys could be leading the line for their sides. But I think these are both two fairly okay-ish shouts from my experts, and I definitely think if you've not got any problems and maybe kind of got a few transfers kind of sat on, it could be worth having a little bit of fun, offloading João Pedro, who's been very, very disappointing in recent weeks, or maybe Cunha with his upcoming ban, or Evan Nielsen, who's also been failing to deliver over the past few weeks, and having a little bit of fun over that festive period, like I said, with two picks that are in purple patches and have pretty decent fixtures, especially from an attacking standpoint, over the next 3 game weeks. Let's move on then to our final player of today's video, and it is going to be Sarr. I was super impressed with him yesterday. Could have got plenty more out of that Arsenal game as well. The run coming up for Crystal Palace, as you can see, bar the Chelsea game, is pretty phenomenal as well. Bournemouth away, probably not the easiest fixture to be going into, but maybe they'll be a little bit too high off that United win as well. But they're currently sat in 5th in the Premier League, which is an absolutely amazing result for them. So maybe Bournemouth away might not be the ideal time to bring in Sarr, but then Southampton, Chelsea, Leicester, West Ham. We've obviously spoke about Southampton, Leicester and West Ham being some of the worst defences for expected goals conceded. This lad has been a really, really shining star, and at 5.7 million, again, maybe if you're looking to completely downgrade Saka to one of the cheaper boys, Ahmed, Enzo, Rodgers or Sarr, again, here is another fantastic option with decent fixtures over the next few weeks that you could really get your teeth into. Has been putting up some good opportunities and some good data over the past few weeks as well. Looks super impressive in the Arsenal game as well. Go and watch the extended Palace highlights. You'll see what I mean by it. Definitely could have had a few other attacking returns as well, if Mateta had his shooting boots on, or if, you know, a couple other chances, just put a little bit more power on it. So definitely going to be one of those players that I'm going to keep a very avid eye on over the next few weeks. Like I said, with some delicious fixtures coming up and that unbelievable price point of 5.7 million. Those were my picks from my FPL experts in today's video. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments below. If there are any players that my experts missed, let me know in the comments below as well. And thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen. There we go, getting my words out. And good luck in game week 18.